All right, today is an experimental painting by Vladimir Kush, and we're using oil paints. Yeah, so let's start with the sketch. Shouldn't be very hard. Yeah, so we just have kind of this bottom with the grass. And then we have one big flower. Yeah, Karen can help me with this flower name in English.
The dandelion, it's the seed clock.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah, it's the yellow one that some women become.
That's right.
And then we all as kids love to blow it and make it fly.
Yeah, that's right. And that's actually quite interesting as well, because then you're thinking about the picture as being blown on someone's breath. The people are being blown on someone's breath.
So someone's still deciding where all those people okay, not deciding but making them. So some political events or yeah, some historical, so like a lot of things that we can't control, and they make us do something. So I haven't used my, as usually, so I did a quick sketch with a pencil, because of course everyone is here experienced. But so just a very quick repetition so just in case someone has struggles with it. So just a corner, also like doing this very carefully not to make it too big. That might happen, you know, sometimes if you don't pay attention, it can be too big, but still leaving much more space for the very nice pinky reddish purple sky. Yeah, and then of course paying attention to composition for the flower, so it's also maybe not too big. And then the bottom of the flower has some leaves. Then we see the leaves are kind of in light green, and then the darker green grass around. And we can sketch maybe some main parts of those stripes of the sky. Again, of course, just more in compositional way, rather than, of course, you know, just to say, okay, how big it is, the spot. And then, of course, we have all those people. And Karen were mentioning this scraping technique that we shall then try. It means that you first need to put dark color, so let it be, can be black since the people are black there. Maybe also can choose dark purple or something. And then we will have all these light colors of sky on top. And then we will try to scrape maybe with a palette knife. Yeah, or can be even just the end of the brush, something, whatever works. So maybe also then we can kind of plan where those people will be. Interesting if scraping of the yellow flowers will also work. That would be cool because they're also very tiny and gentle. Yes, and in here, of course, it is important to make people different size. Yes, so a bit bigger ones, we see them closer, and then the tiny ones. So more or less. Yeah. But maybe also sketching those people not so necessary can go directly also with the. All right, what would I start with? Interesting. What would you start with, Karen?
I would start with the sky, and I would, and because we're using oil pastels, my tendency would be to start, and I'm right-handed, so I'd start top left-hand corner and work my way right. And I literally just go in and lay down colour to start with.
That's a very nice, yeah, let's do this way. So of course, if you work with right hand, you stop at the left corner and move, so then you don't mess around with your hand. Yeah, let's do it this way, because also the white flower is easier than on top. Maybe actually with the white flower, we can also experiment this. So just let's say.
Really good idea.
To put, because the flowers, they're really tiny, so maybe this scraping could be work. So what I do, I will just put this white base on the flower. So just kind of, oh, the Scenelia oils are, it's just a different world.
Oh, stop it, I'm so jealous.
Well, you have the little set of metallics, so.
I do, yeah.
And okay, since I have this white one, I'll go and do all those also little ones. The only later thing is actually try to remember where they were, probably. We'll see how it works. Yeah, so what's the scraping idea is that you put one paint as the base, and then you have another paint covering, and then with something sharp you scrape, and the first layer, first color should be revealed, and then you have a chance, of course, to scrape it tiny. We know that all pastels are hard to do the. Okay, I've put some of them. Won't put too much because I feel maybe later putting paints, I will not guess again. Where were they? Maybe no. So let's then just slowly move from colors. So I see the top left corner is a bit darker purple. So of course, just taking paints and mixing. So let's say maybe a bit of purple, and then can have some reddish there. To have them mixed nicely, also, like, don't forget to change the direction. So you put one color in one direction, and then the second, not really perpendicular, but more like changing a little bit this degree, and then it helps to exactly to cover all those. Then, of course, there are coming some of those bright stripes that probably needs to be mixed definitely with some white. Yeah, so think about oil pastels kind of as if they are also paints. Yeah, it's actually, I think that's the story. I think, who was it? Picasso.
Yes.
We have to blame, or I mean, blaming was not, who we have to thank. Yeah, so he actually asked for oil pastels to be invented so that he can take painting out.
Something else I like about this painting is that when you get in really close, you can see his brush marks, and it kind of goes up.
Interesting. Yeah, so let's also maybe repeat a bit again all the story about this painter in surrealism. So we know that surrealism is an art movement. It takes kind of pretty much short time in history, and of course it's connected to the wars, world wars that were going on in of course mainly Europe, but took of course the whole world in, and of course war is the craziest thing that just affects everyone. Yeah, so you can't already tell I'm out of politics. Yeah, that's maybe you can tell it in the peaceful times, but when there is war, it kind of takes everyone in. So and of course then so actually there is also a movement. The surrealism started from Dadaism, so they call them Dada. And actually, first they started more as a performance, and then they developed also in the cinema and in the visual arts like paintings and how it started. That so of course the whole world is in the war, and then only Switzerland is kind of staying neutral. I mean, everyone lets Switzerland stay neutral because everyone's money is there. So no one really wants. And so then, of course, lots of people, the rich Europeans who didn't manage or didn't want or something to escape to America, because of course America was where you'd go just to avoid all the craziness happening in Europe. And then stay in Switzerland. They're rich, they have food, so they don't really suffer like all the madness of war. So honestly, they're just bored. They don't know what to do. They don't know how to, of course, maybe they feel also emotionally what's all going on, but so they just kind of opened, how call it, a club or something, and they started to do those visual performances. Also a little bit as so those rich Europeans escaping war in Switzerland, they were actually preferring art that is like beautiful and realistic. So with all this Dadaism, let's say, not beautiful art, they tried to, like show them that that's how it can be, so. Okay, I'm losing my idea because I'm getting now with paints over my white flower. So, the experiment comes. We had our white oil paints there, and now I'm putting also different stripes, more or less just the way it also goes on the painting. So I have some reddish, some darker purple stripe. And then we should try experiment to scrape. Let's see how it works. So with all pastels, it's always you work. You have lots of colors, like you use at the same time. And also remember that what you can really change in oil pastels is don't forget like the way you press. So you can touch lightly your paper, and then of course you have more those emptinesses going on, and then you just press a bit more harder, and then straight away you get more intense and a bit more. All right, I covered with stripes on my flower. Let's check the moment of truth. So I'm taking a metallic palette knife. So the flower, of course, it has, so first maybe I'll do this dark inside part. Yes, maybe also a little bit, yeah, so for the long stick now, I'll put just one color, but of course then we later play a bit and make it more detailed with lighter and darker parts. Yeah, then just setting on top this darker inside part, and then it will be easier to go with this direction of and again, if you put something and it's not dark enough, then you can always mix it. Yes, a little bit darker brown and black. So okay. And so then I scrape, also remembering the shape of flowers. So we have some strokes going here. Yeah, cool, I think it works. Yeah, nice. Okay, so somewhere probably I had to do a bit more putting white around, because now I'm scratching somewhere where I probably didn't put white. Yeah, so this is also too, but generally, easy peasy, works as yeah, and cool, because this is exactly the way to do the tiny lines. I just need to plan. Have you tried it? Are you that far, Karen?
I'm not scraping back far, no. I've probably done a lot more of my sky there than you have.
Yes.
I'm kind of going to leave the scraping back bit until I finish my sky.
Okay, sure. So also wet towels are good when you're using oil pastels, because just to get your hands cleaner. And then also, so when you do the flower, it's not just only thin lines, so also pay attention kind of the side has more and smaller lines together, yeah, because then with this you show it the volume, yeah, so then it gets kind of curvy there. Yeah, and then you can even also differentiate, of course, the thickness of those scraping lines. And then you can have them thinner, can have them more. And cool works also on top of this dark green part that I have put it. Yeah, so. Okay, flowers. So this was the thing that I told that later on we'll probably need to guess where I had those little white parts set. So maybe actually like scraping works for bigger objects because you know where they were. Yeah, because later probably. But okay, let's continue and let's see how it goes. So the sky has, of course, lots of different colors. Also think, let's say, which one kind of goes maybe longer along the way of the whole painting. So even if you work, let's say, in parts, still yeah, in a compositional way, makes sense maybe just to put once those main spots along the way, and then just come back and filling up smaller parts. So yes, surrealism then it's considered to be this movement kind of was born or was started from the seed of this Dadaism. And so it's something from 1914, yeah, let's say till the end of Second World War, 1945. And what also included in all this surrealism movement is the psychology theory of Freud. Yeah, so he was kind of popular those times, and many surrealism artists, they kind of connected, yeah, their ideas or what they had in the paintings with the theory of Freud. And so of course everything in this surrealism is pretty much with psychological connection, and not necessarily, yeah, or as we said, so not necessarily positive. The opposite is kind of mostly lots of topics about death, lots of topics about fear, and then depicted somehow through this sexual point of view, and so. And this painter that Karen discovered, so he is, I mean, alive, he lives, he's a modern painter, born in Russia, moved to the States, somewhere, I guess, California side. And so his idea, he's like trying to do the positive surrealism. So it then gives you more positive feelings. And using metaphor in his paintings. Yeah, so taking some ideas, a metaphor, and try just depict it visually. Yeah, and, so also now working with this sky, the way, yeah, it's kind of experiment, just jump, and when you see one color, matches nicely the other, or also try to take sometimes maybe unexpected color, maybe some very bright orange somewhere. Yeah, so if you feel, let's say, maybe brightness is lacking, or the opposite, sometimes some dark color to be mixed in can also work. Yeah, so it's kind of keep on experimenting, jumping to reach the. So now I'm trying to do this light that is at the bottom, and then I just mix light pink with white, and then kind of I put light pink, I put white on top, then again this pink on top. So yeah, just mixing. But then of course this light will start shining only when you put other stuff around. And for example, maybe I can start with a bit. So not putting straight away purple, but a bit lighter border around. Yeah, and then we kind of do this blending with the change. And I also I was listening like a lecture on surrealism in YouTube, and was interesting opinion of the lecturer. He said that with surrealism, he's always like, when he hears his friends or someone say, I like surrealism, I like Dali, Salvador Dali works and something, then he always tries to pay attention. So if you are, let's say, maybe already grown up person with life experience, then you can watch this art and maybe, you know, discover something there for you or have some thoughts. But if you are a young person, so that's he tries to advise young people not to really get in maybe in surrealism exactly of those times, because it's really like psychologically sick, you know. So like he's always saying, no, better, you know, stay in positive, in not in those maybe, let's say, also madnesses that were going inside the head of those artists. And so it was interesting. And with oil pastels also works, let's say, if you did something and no, it's not maybe you don't really like, and then you try to correct it, yeah, just by putting, of course, other colors on top, but in some moment it might happen that it just gets messy. Then it also works just scraping it off. So like the same with the, and then you can just almost start from clean paper. Yeah, and kind of no rush. Should try to enjoy the, just kind of filling up. So now, for example, also I discovered that maybe I should have put the paper the other side, because paper I'm using, one side is really flat and this one is a bit textured. Yeah, so using oil paints. Oh, Becky is here. Hi, Becky. I've just noticed you've joined. Very cool. So it's also when the paper is textured, then it's a bit harder to work with oil pastels because you get all those emptinesses. I mean, sometimes maybe even you want it, yeah. But if you really want to cover nicely, smoothly, then of course it's better to have non-textured paper.
I've done the same thing, Evie. I've gone and used the toothed side, the side with the texture.
So everything comes with experience. So just painting more, and we're all gonna get there. Yeah, it's you can listen lots of YouTube tutorials about which paper is better, which no, but just yeah, trying yourself will get you there better. And then of course, from time to time, sit back, look at your painting and see how it's going. Maybe you need somewhere, you know, those accents. Yeah, so just kind of, especially let's say maybe you feel tired a bit. So then you just switch to, yeah, instead of just covering the area, sit back and say, okay, where I need accents, and then it will help also kind of like recap, bring together what you've done till now, and like see where are those main bright spots. Also it'd be interesting this painting to do in paints.
Yeah, it would.
It's just like thinking from technical part, how would I paint the sky paints? Because here in oil pastels, of course, we do part by part, like just area by area. And so then the oil pastels I am using now are those fancy Sennelier ones, but not, I'm going to do something. I have a €5 box from Lidl. Let's see who beats £100 Sennelier box and £5, or how it feels on the same paper. And so Yes. So the main difference, of course, the way you feel it, that the sennelier, they're coming as very soft, creamy, yeah? But for example, color-wise, this box of Lidl, I was actually very surprised when I opened it. The colors are very, very neat. They're not just like some boring typical ones, but they have really lots of nice tones of so actually let's experiment. In some moment maybe also feel like, so I've started by looking at the painting first, but later you can also experiment with your own sky, and it doesn't have to. You can.
Glad you said that. I've just gone off piste.
You start as but looking painting, but then you just forget to do your own a bit. Yeah. So like, what would be the main aim with the sky? Try to make it look beautiful. Doesn't matter, maybe you'll have more purple, maybe you have it more light or more dark. And try to notice nice mixes, nice matches. Yeah, so, and then try to keep it in your head. You say, aha, I've used this and this together. Here I tried and actually got a mess. So it just like helps you improve as an artist. Then you just like in this technical part, then you it works for every medium, not only oil pastels, but nice. I'm very happy that I took this cheaper box. It's harder, but it works very nicely to blend, so to find all those emptinesses. Now it's an easy peasy. So also like keep those children crayons somewhere around. They actually can work very nicely as the blending medium. Yeah, so I'm going here now around just with the white stick of this cheaper box, and here we go. It's doing all the mix of the fancy paints that I've put first. Art is all about experiment. But when you experiment, as I said, try to notice and remember what works for you. So then later when you have some idea, then you already kind of know what to do to how to make it, what works or not. What's your opinion, Karen, about like, so working and improving your technical skills and this artistic view and artistic like thinking, so like what to paint? Yeah, so many people say, I don't know how to paint, and of course everyone is starting to learn how to use paints, how to use brush, but later of course comes the moment when you kind of know it already.
I kind of just leapt in and started painting, and I love paint, and I just like playing with it, so I always saw it's kind of playing. And I got to the point where I kind of felt that I'd gone as far as I had without actually learning a bit more about paints and how to use them and how to use brushes, really, because I wasn't using brushes at all. I paint with my hands and with credit cards and with, whatever else comes to hand. So I've done a lot of that, and then it was kind of January, wasn't it, that I joined you guys, because I was looking for something to stretch me, to take me out of my comfort zone so that I could learn more.
Interesting. So it means the Karen is a true artistic soul that was just doing it because it's awesome and fun. Cool. I think I'm coming exactly from the opposite. Like I went and I learned how to draw with the pencil, all these classical, you learn to draw the sphere, the cylinders, how the shadows are falling, and you spend like years doing just this boring stuff. So then it brings you to later, like just exactly the abilities. And now I feel a bit stuck and like looking forward to moving into this more, creative. So. But it's all the path, and like, so doing art, and we also, since we copy a lot other artists, then I try to read a bit about the artists, and we see how different they are, how each has its own story, how they got into the art, and how they were developing. Like, remember, we did Gauguin. I think Gauguin has pretty much interesting story, like among Impressionists, let's say. Like the other Impressionists maybe had just like, okay, I don't know, the rich father, and they were just, okay, what to do? I'll paint, and maybe so. But Gauguin really had adventures, and and his so he was working in the bank, and then the financial crisis came in, and just by chance he was, I think, I don't know, like maybe dating this girl or something, and she was painting, so he just like, okay, I'll paint with you. And then he ended up moving to the, what was this island? Tahiti, living with all the local people there and so on. What I've noticed now on my painting, probably since I was just as usually chatting too much, all my sky got just kind of one direction. So just so maybe also think about breaking up a bit. So somewhere maybe a bit more horizontal. So just not that everything goes. I mean, of course, it has one common direction, but and what I try to do now, I put a bit of, I don't know, white on top, and then we'll put another paint, let's say, just to kind of to break a bit the. So I will also repeat, like, sometimes I feel it, okay, not cheating, but as advantage, because when we paint together and I use these two cameras, it's incredible how it's easy. I see my painting on a screen, and it's so easy to see the mistakes. Because when I just sit back on my chair and I look at my paper, it's harder. It's so, that's why it's often is advisable to take a picture of your painting with a phone, and then somehow it's smaller and far away, and then you see, okay, there is something wrong. But since we paint this together, I kind of parallel, since I paint, just look at my laptop and I see, okay, there is something. This corner is screaming, something is wrong there, or and also in this constructional part, that something is not okay. I'm definitely will continue using together Sennelier and those little. It's actually from UK. My aunt came to visit from UK, And because I didn't find this set in the Lidl of my country, but in UK they had it. So Karen,
Okay, check
it out, £5, and you will have a good helper box. Where is my okay. Wet paper towels. Okay, we'll play a bit more with the sky. Sky is busy. Then just to give it rest, we can move to do the grass and also just to have it a bit more complete. So then and so yeah, since I also was mentioning preparing paper for oil pastels. Actually, so today I think I did it a bit too light pink. I should have done maybe a bit darker. Just also from experience, sometimes I made too dark gouache layer, and then it was harder to work with. But then again, maybe it depends also on oil pastels. Yes, and Alia is kind of probably covering everything because it's just basically as oils. Yeah? And with maybe cheaper oil pastels, what was happening that I couldn't really get light colors. Then I had to just cover with white first and then put on top. So then, of course, it all depends also what you're painting. Yeah, what is the scene? If there are a lot of light, or if there are like just very little light areas, you can also have darker than background and just use this technique. Put first some I start liking it. Yes. So I'm not sure back in which moment you joined. So if you have seen this scraping technique we experimented, I did with flour. Interesting. Maybe just to repeat it, maybe I can do something similar with the grass. Because the grass, it has then, it's all dark, but these main leaves are lighter. That means first I'll put those lighter greens.
Sent you a picture.
Yes.
And it's right what you say about when you see a photograph of it, it just moves it away somehow.
Yeah, it brings far away. And then that's the...
I've not done anything other than sky yet.
Okay, that's of course, we are in process. So here I'm putting all these light greens. And what's actually the good part of scraping? I'm putting really without worrying much. So I'm not really painting, but just putting this layer. Because later I'll put another layer on top. And then with the scraping, I'll be painting. So I find it actually kind of a bit easier maybe. Oh, and there are also very nice some emerald green in there. Let me finish this and I'll take a look on yours. Yeah, very nice. Just emerald strokes. And a bit of olive light. Yeah, also on the vertical stick. Okay, So I'll leave it for this. So, here we go, Karen. Yeah, nice mixes of the sky. Maybe in the middle got a bit too similar lines.
Yeah.
In their thickness.
Yes.
Let's say the upper part looks awesome, where you have this even a bit bluish and coming this pink, like even can leave it, don't touch it. It's like, yeah. So we all remember our golden rule. Yeah, if something worked, just leave it. Don't keep on messing with this. And here exactly on the line with the flower. Yeah, so, but then it's just easy, just kind of choose and prolong one, a bit up, a bit down, yeah, maybe lines. So I think there is nothing you cannot recorrect in all pastels. And like how you're yellowish showing through, yeah, here exactly under. So also maybe just leave it. I mean, no one said you can't leave some emptinesses of paper. I mean, of course you can. Yeah, especially it shines so nicely yellowish. And I really love how you use thick your paints. Cool. And then also, I don't know if it's accidentally or not, but let's say very cool, this blending part, yeah, where you get from this upper purple bluish into this. So also just kind of remember, how I did it, how like that here gently, it went a bit on pink. Yeah, so it's not just with one stripe, but it almost feels like a cloudy softness there. So just remember.
Just want to say that was intentional.
Good job. Yes. Awesome. No, I like also the movement. Okay, these ones here going a bit up. Yeah, this is something what I've missed on mine, that all going just one direction, but Karen nicely, some strokes going down, some's up, some changing. So cool. No.
But you know what it is because I've put it on much, much thicker than you. When I'm blending it, you can move it.
Wow. I need to be more brave.
You can always scrape it off.
You can always scrape it off. That's true. That's true. Nice one. Yeah, let's just continue. I see no. Yeah, so what actually it works, yeah? So blending, when you have more of these on your paper, the blending is easier. Yeah, it actually works the same for paints. And yeah, because then you have stuff to move. But if your layer is too thin. But also, so for example, think of that. Yeah, sometimes, of course, then your stick gets messy. You can also clean it. For example, maybe it's not that necessary, but sometimes if there is important part and you really need to get some light in there, just check if your stick is not too messy. You can clean it just by also rubbing somewhere else to get off. And then let's say it's again white or light, the one you need. It's not real often because still in general you all just cruising around, but sometimes it happens to me that some important part and I need to get it neat, and then oops, my stick was dirty from some previous mixing. All right, I will continue a bit with my grass. So again, just to repeat a bit this scraping stuff. A bit more. I'll put also actually on the border, so where the grass is ending and the sky starting. There I'll put also a bit of light green. Yeah, so it's one part a bit olive, one part a bit maybe more darker. Yeah, also like this very foggy corner, so the opposite, the right down corner feels like bluish, foggy, misty getting into the grass. But we'll get to this corner later. Let's experiment with the corner of grass. So I've put all the light greens. Now what I'm gonna do is just gonna go on top with all the dark ones. We'll start with just the darkest green I have, but I'm sure I will need to mix it with brown and even maybe black. Oh, let's see. Maybe even a bit more. So here I've noticed there are also a bit longer strokes of green, so I'll just put a bit more light, then I'm not staying short when scraping. I mean, when I scrape, I have it. So, and what I do, I'm just all covering up with another dark. Using kind of both green and brown. So maybe green and brown a bit on top there. Okay, all my grass is covered more or less. We will improve it a bit later, but let's try scraping. Oh, I broke my palette knife, but okay, will be easier. So, so just try to remember. Okay, so this is what I find a bit that scraping is nice, but you need to remember where you did the stuff. Or then you just cover everything and So maybe for this flower, it's not a must to use this scraping technique. I mean, you can paint it also just by, just usually, you know, it's flower and background separately. But I just wanted to experiment. Like for the thing like flower, this white flower, it worked perfectly. And for example, scraping, of course, is very nice. So you see those little tiny, so this one is very cool and easy to do. You can do really thin, long line. Yeah. So maybe those big flowers not necessary. They could be done by normal, but those in between are cool. Yeah, so if anyone else wants to share things, of course, you all feel free to send it to WhatsApp. And then also don't forget to jump, let's say, in between general covering and then going back, let's say, maybe a bit to the details. Yeah. So it's also the story that works for any medium. Yes, you work. I always repeat, the most important is all the general, that all together but it works at some, so first we always the composition. Yeah, so it all looks and fits nicely. And then of course you work on some details, because details what makes your painting look more detailed, more interesting. But always remember to come back from details again to looking it all together. That's because even if you're something you do like very, very beautifully your detail, but generally in all together it's maybe on the wrong place, or it's not connected to everything else, then it starts looking, then no much sense of and again remember to help all those nice parts to shine, like those light leaves. We really need dark. Yeah, it's combination. So you need to put next to it dark, and then it will start. Yeah, especially when it's almost always when you paint grass. Always put also dark and sometimes even black, especially like at the bottom as a shadow. At once, you will notice how it gives more volume, and like green and black are friends. They like to be mixed in. The green at once starts looking more deep. And as I often also say, take breaks. Yeah, if you spend some part in one part of painting, you feel a bit maybe tired, and switch. So also kind of from all together to detail, sometimes too much details, and you feel like, okay, then just let your brain relax and experiment. Take also some unexpected ones. Take maybe some gray. And then we have different grays. Usually there is lighter and darker. So there it should be a bit more careful when using with light gray in shadow areas, because then it will start looking light, and then you might just have it wrong a bit with this feeling. So if it's the shadow dark area, use this darker gray. Yeah, that maybe also it helps to. Gray is actually also very popular using in paints. It's like whenever you feel something is messed up, like too much of colors and everything, then just go put in some gray and it will help to like give the stability. Yeah, like it calms down. Okay, we'll work now on my corner here. Yeah, very nice, misty, bluish, grayish, something in there. Yeah, so it's also like in the upper part, it's a bit more separate, the grays in the sky. And here at the bottom, they're kind of going in. So yes, and again, don't forget about how hard you're pressing. Yeah, so you can change a lot in all pastels by how hard you press it against the paper. Yeah, because of course, maybe usually we have one strand we are using when we paint, but then some areas press harder and you will get the, yeah, it's of course for your hand, maybe you can't do it for a long time. It's like, but yeah. And again, for example, I have also like almost every color in all pastels, they have this lighter and darker, yeah, also purple. So it feels like as if there is white pigment in one color. Yeah, so let's say if I'm working on this corner with a shadow, maybe I'd rather not to use the light purple, but just darker one, so it won't bring too much white. Yeah, and then it starts looking as the light area there. But this one can work nicely when you go this blending part from light to dark. Yeah, and then as a transitional. And also be careful with, so mixing colors here works just the same as in all other. Yeah, so if you take orange and blue, they will mix in some brownish and so on. So yeah, be aware of this. Because this is just what happened to me. I put too much orange next to purple and kind of doesn't look. Luckily, we can scrape. So there are, of course, just some colors that looks nicer together. Yeah, and not necessarily like in mixing, but just like one close to another. Yeah, so again, like orange and blue, they look very nice together, especially if you differ the proportions, let's say lots of blue and some orange accent, or the opposite, yeah, with all those red and green and yeah, purple and yellow. But when mixing them, of course, then not really. Yeah, so just all this theory. I think it's actually not so much this like theory in art. I mean, there are, but just kind of learn all those basics and that's it. The rest is more just your experiment and your, yeah, this is why I was asking Karen, like how it works. Like in this, like, let's say just technical practice, yeah, when of course already you have no problem working with the brush, you know, let's say like children, then they, of course, when they start, they don't manage to get what they want. Then later your hand already kind of listens to you. But then, of course, I think the difficult part is not the difficult, but more like then your other artist, or maybe you're just the one who you can use the materials, but when it comes to all these ideas and some so yes, I very like the idea of positive surrealism. I think this is the direction one should, or like I would, if I'm moving a bit, trying to move a bit into the abstract, it has to be positive. I mean, why shouldn't? Yeah. But is again, yeah, this historical context of the surrealism as we know of Dali and René Magritte. Yeah, so it's of course all connects to the times of war, and this is people just express. So it's of course understandable. And so in this little lecture about surrealism, it also was, because then the context was giving, then of course there are the First World War happening, then the second one, and it was like, what were the reasons like for the First World War? And like lots of books, of course, and everything is written, but this lecturer has given an interesting idea that actually the 99 years of peace also were probably the reason, because that's the way the humans are, that we are actually conflict. We are, that's our like nature, we're predators. So the human kind of maybe seeks this. So it was probably natural that after living peacefully too long, humans needed this. It's just like an theories. Of course, lots can disagree because, well, politics, it depends. It's probably often maybe you can't do nothing about it. And of course, yes, lots of like the people that didn't want war, they were trying to escape, to run away, who could, to the States and so on. So people don't want to die for some. But of course, also, like we can talk why the wars are starting, but they're also ending. I mean, they depends. They can last a short, longer time, but they also, in some moment, they just end up. So they can't last long. There is always end. Okay, I forgot about flying people. I thought something is missing. I was like, I'm ready. Like,
I was just sitting here thinking, God, I haven't done any flying people. Might have to limit the number of flying people.
Yes. So, flying people. Well, I can do another trick and use the pencils. So I have the also oil pastels, and the black one I have, it's a carbon. I mean, just to do the thin lines. Yeah, and I even have a white one. Cool. Let's experiment. Yeah. So as I mentioned in the start, the important is to do them different size. And my charcoal doesn't really work. Okay. Let's practice over here. Okay, something. Okay, let's work on people and then add the flowers. Yeah, and then also doing the people, don't forget to change the direction. So not all of them are like in one diagonal direction. Someone is a bit more vertical, someone is a bit more, yeah, and again, putting some too closer, some too more far away. Because what happens when you don't think about it, our brains somehow they like to do the same distance in between. This is like a very typical every beginner or every starter mistake. Yeah, so there is nothing bad. It's normal. We kind of our brains make us to paint. I don't know if maybe it's become more comfortable or something. So. And then of course to paint the big people, you can zoom in and yeah, see a little bit maybe the shape. The small ones, of course, it's mostly nothing, just a stick. And what here I'm not trying to do, so I'm using my black charcoal pencil. That's yeah, it's not giving that brightness. So I also take a bit. I have just this black marker, but I do just the one side, the shadow side of the person, yeah. And yeah, probably it's very subtle also, this you can't really maybe even notice. Yeah, so for example, now it happened to me. Look, I have almost the same distance between these three people. Well, I'll break it a bit with putting some smaller people inside. Okay. Okay, and now with the white. So the white, I'll actually try to do scraping as well, since I have this light pink under. So if I scrape till the paper, it should maybe also look lighter. Yeah. It kind of works.
Now I'm regretting the fact my paper's yellow.
Wow, you have just yellow yellow flowers. I mean, still it's light. I think it's more even important not that the color, but how light your yellow is or how dark.
Yeah.
Yeah, so even if the light yellow would look. So of course, very curious how Yeah, Becky, Samara, how are you doing on the other side? Talk if you want. Share what's working, what's not working. Or if you're also doing oil pastels, maybe you're doing some other. Ah, nice. I like scraping those flowers. Yeah, just the sky and the flower wouldn't look that good without flying. Something was missing. Yeah, and so for example, it's also, so you have some painting idea. Actually, it's important to choose the right technique, the right medium. Yeah, so also that's why it's also good maybe to experiment with different ones, so then you know which works better. Yeah, because the idea could be great, but then maybe in the wrong medium, it's not. That represents nicely. So something in the chat. Choose for what idea I would choose for watercolors. That's the question from Becky. So what we know about watercolors, that this medium, of course, is all about letting it flow. Yeah, so like when you try to work with watercolors and you try to control, then it means you should go with acrylics or oils. Yeah, so it means that for watercolors, of course, you choose maybe some can be also foggy landscapes. Okay, fog is difficult in every medium shop. Yeah, of course, very nice blending colors. You put, yeah, let's say sky, one color, another, the blend in between. Another day, I actually had an experiment with abstract and with watercolors, and it worked awesomely. I will show you now. So yes, choose some. So it's also what everyone is fighting for when painting with watercolors is not to have these strict borders. Yeah, it's considered to be, I don't know, like bad, unprofessional, and then everyone tries to work with good amount of water and the brush, the right moment, everything. So all connects without those, you know, lines that are usually when it's drying. And yes, then imagine some. But there are also different techniques in watercolors. So this is, let's say, maybe classical, that everything is floating. Okay, floating is not the word. Everything is just goes one into another. But for example, maybe you've also seen these botanical paintings. They're very, very detailed of flowers, something, and it's actually like so very detailed, realistics, and it's also done with watercolors, and it's done in this technique of layering. So you put one layer, then the other on top, the other on top, and you keep on building. So there is also this area. So I'll show you now what. So this was I did with watercolors. Take a look, Karen.
Beautiful.
So
I love that.
it was just like, so thinking which colors look nicely. Of course, green, yellow always mix nicely together. So it's just like doing some, floating, moving my paper so it mixes, doing some heatings, and then suddenly, okay, two eyes appeared. And then, of course, I did some, and then I think I went with marker around to do those so something abstract. Yeah, why not?
It looks like a toad peering out of the water.
Oh, okay.
In my brain's attempt to make sense.
Yes. So
that is beautiful. I love that.
And it was total accident, and it's something that you can never repeat.
Yeah.
So the Mac is writing. She's wondering if you can do anything with watercolor, as long as you aren't looking for super realistic looks. For example, you could probably do a football player running in watercolor, and if it isn't the first medium. Okay, interesting. Yes. So realistic. So we're not looking for super realistics, but exactly. Yes, of course, you can do also those. Let's say also people sketches, but it's not easy. It's in general also as doing figure of human. You just need lots of practice. That's the secret of all this story with painting humans. Because let's say if you do it with watercolors, you need to catch it with few strokes, the feeling of this human. Otherwise, it wouldn't look nicely realistic if you have like the body in the knees in the wrong proportion and direction. That's why usually also in watercolor landscapes, you do very nice landscape, and just somewhere small you put a little figure, that just looks, you can guess, okay, it's a person, but it's not really. But yes, there are definitely those practices with watercolors of people, and it's good to do this, to, as I mentioned, just painting nicely human, not only human, also let's say animals in movement. And this is very good, school and good training to do, because it's hard, and you really need to work on that to before it starts working. But because then later you can already, with those few strokes, catch exactly where is the position of and the proportions. So this is that's why, of course, they always make you study anatomy because it's incredible how actually it helps when you understand behind this is this bone, is this structure. It really helps somehow with your brains, then you paint more realistically believable. So because of course you can also paint without knowing what's inside. It's fine, you just look how it looks, where are the shadows, and and especially when the topic comes if you do it from your brains, if you do it from your memory. Then let's see again. Yes, Becky. Humans and animals are harder than a painting. So exactly why this because we need to. Why flowers are easier to paint? because you can do lots of mistakes and still they will look like flowers, everyone understand. But if you do the mistakes, even little mistakes in proportions, especially if you draw or paint the face, it's just 1 millimeter, you move your eyes a bit to the left or to the right, it's completely different person. Then someone will come and say, yeah, painted not bad. Yeah, but it's not Becky. And that's it. Yeah. So for Becky to look as Becky, you need to be very precise in those proportions. So this is just what it's about. And of course, with watercolors, it's harder because watercolors are floating. And yeah, the idea is that you don't control them. So of course, then you have like pencil technique is more maybe. And also when everything you do in paints, let's say if we're talking about realistic portraits, realistic cats. So actually 60% is your drawing under it. And then the rest is those colors and so yeah, the way you do the sketch, the start is all righty.
Yeah, time's cracking on, isn't it?
It is, yes. I will also be leaving you soon because
let me send you a picture.
Yes. Yeah, so let's say maybe 10 more minutes we can work, and then unfortunately I will have to switch off. So that's why I'd be very happy. Yeah. So if you want to share, send me your images, and of course then I can also comment and
I haven't got very many pupils in there.
Can I just ask a question? What are the pencils you're using?
So not oil pastels, but pencils. Where are they? Like those ones, you mean?
The ones you're using right now?
You mean oil pastels?
Those are oil pastels?
Exactly, yes. So
Okay.
let me show you also the box. So here is one box. Here
Oh, okay. Can you hold it right there? I'm going to take a screenshot.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you.
Yeah. So this is the one box I showed you, and this is a bit cheaper, cheaper part. And if you work with this medium and you say, okay, I'm in love with this medium, this is the box of Sennelier. So here is the Sennelier, and Sennelier is totally expensive, but it's like a Ferrari among this medium. Yeah, but go with the normal set. Yeah, I'll show you now. I think the best choice is, so the story between money and quality. So probably this one is very nice crepe, like expression is. So the green box of crepes, and always start with 50 and top and more. Yeah, it sounds like a lot of, but when you start working with oil pastels, you notice that you can't really work with 12, 20, 25. Yeah, it's always feels a bit too little of color. So
Do you like that better than painting? Like rather than, I mean, I know they're both painting, but do you like it better than using a brush?
No, I enjoy both, and we do also both in lessons. So we just jump to experiment. I also like acrylics, and I think the artists who still didn't choose like one medium to work, I continue working on all of them, and watercolors, and so still experimenting.
Do you have a favorite?
Brush is also fun. Again, Becky?
Do you have a favorite?
If I have the favorite, no, I still can't choose. Sorry, can't give you the answer on that because
Okay.
it's kind of, it also depends on the mood. Yeah, sometimes exactly watercolors is fun. And yeah, and also depends, yeah, what I'm looking forward to draw, then I already know, okay, how oil pastels work, how, yeah, of course, then oils is different story. For oils, you need more, let's say, maybe time, and it's always messy. So acrylics, of course, are more handy in this way. They dry faster, and since they're water-based, so it's.
Can I pass on my top tip from today? Because I've done something today that I haven't normally done, and that is I have used, oh God, mine's got really dark in here.
So again, you've used them.
So I've used this, which is a bit of calico for my blending, and it's easier to move the pastels around using it, I think, because it grabs them.
So it's like a cloth, or what is it?
It's fabric, so it's a very lightweight cotton, almost like a canvasy cotton, but really lightweight.
Interesting.
Here it's called calico.
Yeah. I just tried to move my wet towel also, and I saw it's actually taking my paints out. It didn't happen with you, no?
No, because I'm using it dry.
Dry, yeah. You see, it's all about those experiments. So let's take a look at Karen's. Sky is awesome, and you managed to do also those flying people.
Yeah.
No, the flying people look nice. A little bit like my eyes gets a bit too catchy on these 3 leaves. Yeah. At the bottom.
Light.
Either both a bit too light and also maybe a bit too the same. Yeah, so maybe mine's, but more is that they are too white in there, so just a bit more maybe this olive greenish on top, or yeah, so, and also maybe the stick also maybe a bit some darker stroke on the stick of the flower, so just to give one side the shadow, and then it feels also not too, I like how you did differently the shape of the flower, so it's not, my one is more like standing still and people are flying, and your one goes with the wind. Nice. I like how Karen does interpretations. And cool blendings of the sky, cool colors. And then you can take time and analyze, which combinations you like, which areas worked nicely, and also depends on the taste, so this bottom one I also really like, where you have this yellow with pinkish, because we know also yellow and pink, they go nicely, we get always this peachy color, and it's always looks nicely smooth. So maybe there where you have this dark blue and red, so some parts can get just a bit more dirty is not necessarily the word, but like
not blended.
But nice. Also it depends also, like this bottom corner depends, maybe you wanted to have it light, but I like it, like that all this corner looks lighter. Also maybe a bit too white, this line, in just in comparison with all together, because it's again a bit jumping out, just like calming down, and in these moments always like maybe this, not necessarily gray, but some, just experiment on top what works, and just
I'd probably put in some more pink, actually, maybe a peachy pink.
Exactly, yes, some but and then again, in this moment would work good the way you touch your with oil pastel. Yeah, if you press strong, but in this case, you'd probably just go lightly with the hand.
Yeah.
And then it will help calm down, but it will not change drastically the. Awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, sure, Karen. Well, thank you. It was Karen's idea of this painter and this choice of our paintings today. I enjoyed a lot. Okay, so now is the moment, yes, and Rebecca, if you have something to say to show, that's the moment, or we are just or we saying
No, I don't have anything to show, but thank you so much.
okay, well, I'm happy if it helps, if it inspires, and sure, feel free to join.
No, it really does. And I learn a lot just by listening to you. So
Oh. Thank you. It means a lot.
thank you.
For your comment.
And I liked what you said about you like positive spirit, surrealism also.
It is. It's also probably why people generally don't sometimes like the modern art, because often it's a bit more maybe.
Regulating.
If we think about art as conversation, yeah, so artist has something to say, and we know that also in life conversation doesn't always is positive, yeah, that we sometimes we have a fight or something. So the same with art, it doesn't always have to be beautiful, but of course it's better to have a positive stuff in the life.
What's interesting is there's all this sort of scientific information out now about how your nervous system gets affected by things, and obviously colors and images are one of those. So if you look at something, you know, it's the same sort of thing with like atonal music. It's kind of dysregulating to your nervous system. So if you're already a little on edge, looking at it can be, or listening to it can be more dysregulating and sort of disturb your internal system more.
Yes.
Whereas if you look at a beautiful Monet or you know, the ocean or something like that, it tends to sort of settle you down. So
yeah,
I know I get affected by it. So I don't like looking at snarling, angry things.
So, for example, probably you're familiar with also, I think it was Henry Matisse, and he just consciously painted just vivid, bright colors, and he believed that it even can cure. So I think he had once a friend who was ill, who was sick, and he put it all around him, his bright, cheerful paintings. So he believed that it will help him to get better soon. And he painted also, I think, a bit during also those war times. So he consciously was kind of escaping all this madness of war in his bright and happy paintings. So this is.
Yeah, I mean, I think it can be good to express, you know, like it's a form of therapy to sort of express what you're feeling. But, you know, it's like, I wouldn't want, you know, like Munch's The Scream hanging next to my bed, you know.
No. Yeah. So it's also what's depends. Yeah, the art, as I said, if you take it as conversation, it can be. It doesn't have to be also dialogue. It doesn't mean you want other people to look at it and discuss it. So it's maybe monologue. You're talking with yourself, and you do art just to get through something what maybe you're worried about. And if it helps, awesome. Yeah. And no one says you need to keep the drawings. The paper can also luckily go to the bin. Yeah. And so it's but if you say maybe your painting to talk with others than express. So I like to think about art just as a conversation.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to look at it.
So, and it's conversation either with yourself or with others. And if you don't like something, then you don't really need to, you're not, it's a must to stay. Okay, guys, I see you next Saturday. Yeah, feel free to join. We will see. Maybe it's another positive surrealism we'll be doing. Yes, this yellow one that we also talked in the chat. Yeah, or maybe we do this realistic one of Luis. He wanted this Mexican people dancing, and then we see. Okay, was very happy. See you all. Thank you, Karen.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Evie.
Yay. Have a
Bye.
good day,
Take care.
evening.
Bye.
Bye-bye, everyone.